we're going to get him by charging this guy. Like, what? They never say, but like, what even was the theory here? Like, all right, you get a conviction on Clay Shaw. What? He's going to be like, I'll give up. You're going to flip him all the way until you got Lyndon Johnson? Is that the theory?
I love
because they charged him with an unnatural acts or something.
Yeah, the only way I'm getting out of this gay charge is if I snitch on Lyndon Johnson
and Alan Dulles.
Yeah.
And they're all just gonna like what? You get them in front of a jury, and they're all like you just get them all in jail, and then they're all like one after the other in jail.
Yeah, if we keep him in jail away from gay sex for a week, he'll just flip on Alan Dulles. Like, okay, so these guys killed the president, but they're like, we can't get this guy out of this sodomy charge.
Killed dozens of other people to cover it up.
The movie also strongly implies that many of the witnesses interviewed either initially after the investigation or by the Warren Commission were just assassinated as well.
Well, that's my favorite part. Like everyone is killed, but like for some reason the greatest DA ever, the only truthful man in America. Like they like fuck with him like twice, but they never really like they could just roll up on him and shoot him. Like they could easily do that, and they just don't.
Well, because they know, I guess they didn't want to marter him, Felix.
Yeah,
I was looking into the real Jim Garrison trial.
Awesome guy.
of Clay Shaw, and I'll have to check this. I swear to God, I think Garrison used the phrase "homosexual thrill killing" to describe the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. I didn't kill the president for any conspiracy or like ideological reason. It just wanted
got my dick on hard.
Yeah.
Just cracking poppers, killing the president.
The real Garrison was legendary con man.
Oh yeah, I mean, incredibly
Legendary.
corrupt. Yeah,
Total piece of shit.
These are New Orleans district attorney and politician.
Yeah, it's like if a carny uncovered the Epstein thing. Like that's the
well, the thing is that
a carny's way more trustworthy
like
than
Oliver
a New Orleans
Stone.
DA.
I guess he wants to be like kind of. Well, I'll give him their due. So there's actually kind of a head nod in the direction of his notorious corruption because one of his investigators, played by Michael Rooker, finds out who Clay Shaw is from a mob guy, and then at the end of the scene, the mob guy goes, "You gonna help us out with that grand jury thing?" And it's just sort of like left there. It's like, yeah, they're doing corrupt stuff, but at the end of the day, they're going to fucking stop this. This is too far.
Another piece of brilliant casting and cameo. The real Jim Garrison also has a cameo in this movie playing Earl Warren, former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and Governor of California and head of the Warren Commission. They have Jim Garrison play Earl Warren in this movie, which is also funny because when you see what the real Jim Garrison looked like, and then you realize that they cast Kevin Costner to play him, it's like if they had cast a guy who looked anything like the sort of bug-eyed lurch figure that he looks like, his sort of your instinctive trustworthiness for how morally upright he is would be a little bit harder to launder.
It would, I think, like more it's more of a hagiography, like more than like making him look like not a con man is making him hot. Like that's
because obviously he was very old in that scene, but even young, he was not a looker by any stretch.
Just
he looked
weird
like a
wall-eyed kind of like fucking thing going on.
Face. Yeah. That would
he
be
had the Innsmouth look for sure.
That would be a cool movie though. Like it's like how the Real American Sniper movie about just the guy who was in the SEALs but lied a lot and was insane would be cool. The real Jim Garrison movie would fucking rip. Just this fucking ugly, corrupt guy who's like, yeah, gay people killed the president.
I think just going through the French Quarter with like a wad of bills to get every heroin addict and stew bum to be like, yeah, I saw him with Oswald. They even show it during the trial.
We should get so.
Well,
Jim Garrison,
before we get to the actual trial, I want to talk about one other hilarious part in the movie is that again, like as the case becomes public. Of course, Garrison begins to be, slandered in the national press, and his reputation is attacked. And this is when his wife, Sissy Spacek, is like, "I'm out. I can't deal with this anymore. You care more about Kennedy than you do about your own family." And he's like, "Well, divorce me, fine, but you just stay asleep forever, honey." Because again, women don't like talking about conspiracy theory.
Open.
But, yeah. And then, almost right after that happens, he sees Robert F. Kennedy get killed on television. He wakes up his wife and he goes, "Honey, they killed his brother." And she goes, "Oh no, you were right all along." And then they have sex.
So
and then he lays 5-star pipe after being like, it's all real.
This is not explicitly stated in the movie, but I do believe that from the time Jim Garrison flew on the airplane with his cool Cajun friend, with Russell Long, to the assassination of RFK, he did not have sex with his wife once. It took RFK dying for them to rekindle the flame.
So then it gets to, you know, like the actual climax of the movie, but, you know, it honestly, like, the movie completely falls apart after the Donald Sutherland part.
I mean, it's still entertaining.
It's still entertaining, but, like, okay, there is probably, I think, like, in any movie I can think of, Kevin Costner talks on screen unbroken for longer than, like almost 20 minutes of just him talking and advancing the whole case, the magic bullet theory back and to the left. And Matt, as you pointed out, he lays it out, like, how did this bullet, like, defy the laws of physics to, like, create all these injuries? And then, Matt, you pointed out, like, they neglected to mention that Kennedy's seat was a full, like, what,
3 inches,
3 inches higher than Connolly's in the driver and passenger seat.
Yeah, they were not on the same plane at all.
Also, it should be noted, the trial he's conducting, it hinges on the idea that the one gay guy knew another.
But
yes,
that is
the entire
worst job.
case.
The case is he's gay, because that is it. Like they don't connect him in any way to any of these guys, because he lays out the whole idea of how the conspiracy happened from the top, from the Pentagon, but he makes no attempt to even make a gesture towards connecting Clay Shaw to any of that. All it is these guys were all gay and knew each other.
Right. His entire case is like, well, you knew this other gay guy, right? And then, like, through flashbacks, we know he did in the universe of this movie. But the Clay Shaw's like, no, I didn't. And he's like, well, I'm out of things. So, like, we're going to go in on the Warren Commission. He does the worst job as a prosecutor out of anyone who's portrayed as a protagonist.
Okay, so
as a prosecutor in a
if
movie
you buy
ever.
everything he says, the most you can say is, like, I agree with everything he put forward. He was gay with Lee Harvey Oswald. That is the entirety of his case, is that he fucked Lee Harvey Oswald, which Marina Oswald also did. She's not on trial.
So, and again, what's so funny is, like, you know, this is in a New Orleans courtroom. You got Tommy Lee Jones, like, you know, sitting there, you know, as the defendant. Garrison is presenting his case to, you know, a jury of 12 men, 12 bored men. And, like, this goes on for, like, a half an hour of him talking. And, like, Clay Shaw is not mentioned once. And then he's like, and then at the end, he's like, Clay Shaw there. Like, the jury's like, wait, who? Who's that again?
Wait,
Oh,
what?
the gay guy.
What's up? Wait, who's that again?
You've been talking for 4 hours.
Okay, so I looked this up. The actual trial of Clay Shaw, it took the jury 1 hour to acquit him. To unanimously find him innocent of all charges.
So they made a gumbo and then we're like, yeah, this guy's insane.
Well, that was it. Yeah, it's like it could have been shorter, but it's like, hey, if we stretch this, we get a free lunch out of it.
Yeah, they were just eating lunch and being like, Jim Garrison's an asshole. This guy's a fucking moron.
And it's done, like, again, like, this is like, you know, To Kill a Mockingbird. This is like the big courtroom, you know, the crucible of truth. You know, it's all laid bare, justice. And he does this whole thing at the end where he's just like, remember your king. Remember your fallen king. Do not let him, like, and then there's a brilliant scene where he literally, like, Kevin Costner addressing the jury.
Do not forget your dying king. Show this world that this is still a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Nothing as long as you live will ever be more important. It's up to you.
And literally makes eye contact directly with the camera and goes, it's up to you.
Yep.
I'm like, damn, yo, who's he talking to?
yeah. Well, you know, 13-year-old me was like, it is up to me. Me too. Yeah,
Yes.
Time to get on the forums.
You have entrusted me with a great mission. I must be responsible now.
Yeah, just all the all the deep state guys were kept alive through adrenochrome warships in 2003 are like, sir, you'll never believe this. A fat 13-year-old is posting about this movie another guy made, revealing your role in killing the president.
And the way he talks about Kennedy in that monologue is embarrassing. He calls him our dying king, and then he says, we are all Hamlets in this country. the children of a slain father leader.
Oh my God! I forgot
It's
about
so
that
good.
part.
Because Oliver Stone
It's
has
so
a very
good.
unhealthy relationship with authority figures.
But
that's
like,
that's
Matt-
more of like
yeah,
a
Matt, as you
personal
pointed out, like, but
pathology of his.
also like masculinity in general. As if
Yeah.
you look at like Stone's entire sort of film canon, a big theme of it is sort of like trying to, I don't know, sort of salvage or recreate the classic American masculine archetype
Yep.
in a way that's like good and not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
like the guy who went to Vietnam and like is woke. You know what I mean? Like
he's a trad liberal. This is what we had. Like this,
Yes.
he's like, even though like he's diametrically opposed to like his message is diametrically opposed to Pete Buttigieg. Like Oliver Stone kind of walks so Buttigieg could run. Like it's the same genus. Like, what if we could have like the 1950s, but it wasn't racist? We could have masculinity, but it was like cool.
Yeah.
The military's there, but they're nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same idea generally.
Yeah.
so again, Clay Shaw acquitted immediately.
What are the
I
easiest
feel like,
acquittals?
Felix, when we were watching this last week, like the courtroom scene is so funny because it's like, damn, Jim, you killing it. You know?
Jim, you're on fire, dude.
It's like the worst prosecuted case ever. It made like again. Why is Clay Shaw here? What exactly is he charged
He
with
was
again?
gay with Lee Harvey Oswald.
He could not have done a worse job prosecuting this case. He could have. It's just like I and probably not the members of the jury could not remember what they had brought him in on.
And it's also funny because like Clay Shaw's attorney is like, I object, like, you know, and then like the judge is like, you know, you're running around, Mr. Garrison, like stick to the case, and he's like, okay. So then, you know, Bell Helicopter made a contract, but then it's just like, wait, you can't just do that. Like,
It's like that judge, like he must have loved Garrison, or more likely Garrison, like
Well, that's
gave
the
him a
funny thing.
golf
Garrison
club
probably tried
membership.
to prosecute him for racketeering fraudulently,
Yeah.
which he did.
Yeah,
But that's the thing
Not
is
that
like
judge, but
is
other ones.
is that the judge is portrayed as hostile to Garrison, but then you're like, what judge would allow any of that to happen?
Yes!
Yeah, no, that's like literally only like your friend would let you do that. If your friend was the judge and you were the DA and you were like, all right, you mind if I just go in right now, dude? Like that, there's no courtroom where that would be allowed. None.
They're like, objection, sustained. And Garrison's like, all right, I'm just going to keep talking now. I'm just going to like keep spinning this out.
Objection means you don't like it, but I can keep going, right?
But like, not only is the entire case Clay Shaw was gay with Lee Harvey Oswald, it was propped up by, like, they even showed it. Like, they have a heroin addicted guy who's like nodding off on the fucking stand, being like, "That's the man who I saw with Oswald." Like, that's not convincing even to me. And at this point, I've been watching for 2.5 hours, and I'm incredibly on your side. And it still is. It's like, I'm like, you know what? That actually isn't much of a case.
It's like it is. He has a pathetic showing for someone who's literally spent what, like 7 years working on this.
Yeah.
It's a pathetic showing.
Yeah.
So,
But the thing is, he had to, because he wanted to do a movie about the JFK assassination, and to do that, you need a narrative, and there really isn't any, because it's just a thing that happened, and then we just kind of went, "That's weird." Here, the